individuals in Talbot County. We are in the process of expanding our services to Worcester County as well. If you are ever in need of our services, we are here at the library once a month on a Saturday, usually from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. My Tech Clinic is growing, and we have our gracious volunteers from Easton High School to thank for their incredible dedication and service. As high schoolers donate their time to work with the older generation, we see the intergenerational exchange between them. The high schoolers gain an understanding of a different perspective and gain wisdom from their senior counterparts, while the senior communities gain an understanding on how to resolve their tech questions and update their knowledge on their devices. We believe that both exchanges are equally valuable. Our work goes beyond answering a question. We also seek the stories behind the questions. Behind every question is a human being, and our goal is to serve all beings, regardless of race, gender, age, socioeconomic status, orientation, religion, or ethnic background. Our goal is to bridge the digital divide in all walks of life. And we believe that we have only found a single drop from the entire puddle. Last year, we decided to become a full-fledged nonprofit organization, which we call Apollo's Dream Foundation, which is a loving ode to our pet children. Uh, so with the backing of an incredible board, some of whom are here today, Linda Redmond and Zi Wong, our speaker, we are excited to do the work to create more programs that will work towards bridging the digital literacy gap locally, nationally, and internationally. And with that said, our co-founder, Ishin, will say a few words about our speaker today.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Again, thanks for coming. Before I say a few words about our speaker, I would just like to mention that since we are a nonprofit, we rely on people's donation and support. So you're more than welcome to make a donation today after this talk if you like it. And we also have a technology book that we can send you electric copy. Okay, so about our speaker. Zi Wang is a problem solver, inventor, educator, and a serial entrepreneur. He started his first company a year before graduating from college. Zi avoids external funding and supports a bootstrap-first, slow-growth philosophy in business. He believes if one can solve mundane business problems, one can be successful in business. Zi is the CEO of Zerion Software and creator of the iPhone Builder mobile platform, an enterprise field service solution utilized by Fortune 500 companies around the world. Zi speaks internationally on topics ranging from entrepreneurship, data security, big data, and education. He also holds 7 US patents relating to data and data security. And he is the author of the book, Craft Your World. Welcome, Zi.
All right, so good afternoon. And let me make sure, okay, so that's off. All right, so let me get to my talk. Oops, sorry, the right button. Where's the right button? Okay, well, thanks to, it's on. It's on. All right, so thank you, Yixing and Mita on My Tech Clinic. So they're doing wonderful things. Thank you for showing up. And I love to come over here on a nice day. So this talk was originally created for my elementary school. I once started a private elementary school. Now it's closed, but that's another story if you want to hear. So I love this topic because it's hard. And I also don't know the background of all of you. So please stop me if it's going over too fast or too slow or whatever. Right. So let's get going. A few years ago, my son and I went to Rome, and just like the first thing that came into our mind from our friends is like, oh, if you go to Rome, so like be aware of pickpocketers. So be aware. And then we went online and trying to search on how do you avoid being pickpocketed. This is from a news magazine, and the two things are basically be aware and look like a difficult target. So don't be targeted, and know if you're being targeted. So those two things apply to cybersecurity. If you don't want to be hacked, do the same thing as you would in real world, right? You wouldn't pull out a stack of money and just say, hey, how do I spend this money, right? And my wife always say, like, if you're in a crowded area, put your wallet in the front, right? These are kind of simple things that you would do when you feel like you want to be safe. And online is similar, right? So be aware and look like a difficult target are the two things that we'll talk about first. So today, I'll talk about three main things. One is password and how do you manage them. Second is phishing and how to just be aware. And the third thing is AI. So AI comes last, but I'm going to be talking about password first. Manage your passwords. Anybody can, like, why is password important? Anybody? Just protection, security, because you have to have them. You're being forced, right? I hate passwords. And in tech, password, it's like it's a transition. We're trying to get away from password. So hopefully a few years from now, we do not have to use it. But for the time being, we still need them. How many passwords do you have?
Too many.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
15. Number
30.
30.
Probably 30.
Right.
Over 100.
Over 100. Yeah, too many. Too many is the right answer.
The same one in different variations.
Yeah, well.
Bad. So bad.
Right. I probably have about 500 passwords.
Oh my God.
So how do you manage them? Like, before I tell you how I want you to manage, how do you manage them?
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet, yeah?
Use Roboform, which I fight with.
A what?
Roboform.
A RoboForm.
Roboform, the program.
Ah.
It's not perfect.
Right.
There's a little book.
Yep. Yep.
I have a password manager, LastPass, but I don't use it as much as I should.
Ah.
I use it for frequent flying things, things that I access regularly, but not as.
I mean, all good answers so far, right? Anybody use one single password across everything?
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, good. So I'm already done. So so that's the number one thing I want to get rid of is the single password that you use across. Now, this is the single slide. If you don't remember anything, this is the one slide that I want you to remember. And again, this was created for young kids, and this gets the point. Not going to repeat that. It sets, it's very to the point. So yeah, so I'd say only share password with those that you will share underwear with. All right, so a few rules. Rule number one is on your device. So right now, everybody has a mobile device, right? So like a smartphone, right? In today's world, you cannot avoid it. So make sure you set the Face ID, the fingerprint ID, whatever your device supports. Do the biometric, and then a good 6 to 8 digit passcode, right? So we're all good with that, right? So that's rule number 0, right? Make sure you do that. because some of the rules down the road rely on we have a good biometric lock on your device. So make sure you do that. If you find people around you don't do that, make sure they do. Okay. Rule number 1. Now these rules change, and you'll see. I now put turn on two-step verification on rule number 1.
Ask you for a second.
Two-factor authentication. Who have no idea what this is? Everybody have idea, right? Oh, so you are very, okay? So turn it on everywhere you can. This is actually, in today's world, more important than your complex password. So in today's world, now the world changes all the time, so the rule changes all the time. In today's world, you turn this on and then use the same password everywhere, that's better. Better than the other way around. Better than you have very good passwords, but never turn on two-factor authentication. Right? So this is important. Today, this is very important. So turn this on everywhere you could. Is that a question?
Yes, it's a question because I never do that. And if you do that second step, can you use the same thing over and over and over?
Well, still don't. Still don't. I'm just saying, if you only do one, if you only do one thing, this is more important than the complex password in today's world. If you only do one thing, turn this on. This is important. Now, I'm not telling you to just use a single password across. Don't do that. But I mean, that's why I talk about this first. I used to talk about the password first. But now, turn this on. It's important. Now, so I'm going to go through some screenshots. We'll probably, if we can share this slide deck down the road, you in every service, your Google, your Yahoo, your Hotmail, if you go to your account setting, you can turn on security and turn on two-factor authentication. So this is in your Hotmail. You can go to turn it on. So I'm not going to go through everything, but it's important that you go find it. In Yahoo is in the account info. If you don't know how to do that, come to my clinic, my tech clinic. Okay, they can help you. Now, within the two-factor authentication, there are field methods. One is the SMS. So I think most of us most familiar with your bank will send you an SMS, right? If you log onto your bank. Banks are very good now that forces you to have your phone with you. So they will send you an SMS.
What does that stand for?
Or SMS, small message something system. But it's your text message. They send you a text message. Right. So that's one of the second factor. Your bank, your Google will send you a text message. So usually it's a number that you type it in. Or you can do this thing called Google Authenticator. When you set up, there is a choice. In every service, there's a choice to do the security key, push notification, phone number, or a authenticator app. At a bare minimum, do anything. Do any of these is great. If you could, the most secure of those is the security key. It's a physical key that you will push to your computer, but that's a lot of hassle. So most of you wouldn't go through that hassle. If you want to do better than a text message, then try to set this up. Again, if you want help, come to my tech clinic. This is the minimum. Do this, right? It's good. And if you want better security, do the app. If you want ultimate security, if you're locking up your Bitcoin or whatever, use the hardware key. All right. So yeah, the key looks like that. I mean, there are many different ways, but this is so far the most popular. Is called a YubiKey. Anybody has one? Yeah.
If you set up the SMS code, And it says, is it, you want to keep this as a trusted device? Is that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's setting it up as a phone number that that the service will send information to. Now, the trusted device also will mean sometimes that it will not ask you for that second factor for 30 days. That's okay. If you don't want to just keep keep having to enter in the number. Okay? All right. So rule number 2 is never reuse. Now, most of you already get that, so you guys are very good. Yeah, used to be this is like what people do all the time. If you still do, then make sure you don't. I used to tell my parents, like, well, at least do 2 passwords. One that you use basically everywhere. The second one you do for more secure situation like bank accounts, but do variations of that. Now that's not good enough anymore today. In today's world now, who had heard that never write down your password? Right. That was bad advice today. That was advice that we tech people gave in the 90s. In the 90s, we tell people to use very complex password and never write them down. That was then. Today, we have different recommendations. So today, it's better to write it down than to reuse them. Right? So there's a choice. In security, there is level of security. You want to get to a point that you can tolerate and still use, right? So you know what? The most secure thing is never get online, right? Never have a phone, never get online. That's most secure, but you can't live that life anymore. So today, it's better to write it down than to reuse, which means your little booklet is great, right? Now, these are bad passwords. If you use variation of that, that's bad passwords. Now, these are the 10 most common used passwords, according to The Verge. This is in 2024. In 2024, these are still the most used passwords. I mean, that's why these talks still exist. So don't use any of these passwords. Right. So like we do this a lot in the past. In the 90s, we tell people to do that password thingy, like replace 3 with the $sign, replace an E with a 3, do the upper lowercase, don't do that anymore. All right, what is a good password? A good password are long random words, 2 to 3 to 4 random words, and you link them with symbol and numbers. Something like this. Now, okay, so this is a comic. I'm not going to go through it. Actually, I'm going to try to click this. Right. So a good password is something like this. Fine, maybe you put a dash in between, live, entirely, dash calls. That will be a good long password. Now, once upon a time, we, the tech community, also told people never to use dictionary word as passwords. Who have heard that? You know. Right. In the 90s, we said never use dictionary word for passwords. That's wrong in today. That's wrong today. Today, you're free to use dictionary word, but use multiple of them randomly. Okay. So this website gives you a good, like, if I click it again, like, it will just give you some random words. And the reason is that we want it long. Long is better. So this comic says, and I'm not going to go through it, but the gist of it is, we used to tell people to use these type of passwords, like upper lowercase with the 0 in between, which is extremely hard for human to remember, but relatively easy for computer to guess. So what's the point? Like, okay, computer has advanced so much that the length is the most important thing. We want it long. Okay, so about 20 character or more is better. Now, be aware though, some systems will not take passwords longer than 20 characters. So, yeah. So those are getting far, like few in between. But there's still some systems that would not allow passwords longer than 20 characters. Yes.
A lot of places require at least a capital letter and/or a special characters. You just intersperse them in your local
Yeah.
words.
Yes. So what I would do there, right? I mean, this, right? So you can do, right? So the word, you can do 1, 2, 3 or dash or pounds in between. That, like, you can just try to remember some of those. It's still much easier than that. Now, and at the end, you shouldn't remember any of them. But these are longer, better password, much easier to type because they're words. When it's truly random, 20 characters, like, good luck typing them. Okay. So come back to this. Right? So at the end of the day, my recommendation is to use a password manager. Since you cannot remember them, they have to be so long, and you cannot reuse them. So, yeah.
How often are you supposed to be changing password?
Well, so my true recommendation is change them when the system makes you to change them. If you don't reuse them, that responsibility is no longer needed much. So if you never reuse passwords, then you would, right now, most systems will force you to change your password every 90 days or so, right? So of course, the right thing to do is change everything once a month, but that becomes so much of a hassle. Like, I mean, so I would say if you turn on two-factor authentication, if you never reuse passwords, then it's okay. So leave that change password to the system to force you to. They will make you. They should make you, like a bank should make you.
I don't think Google does. I don't think Gmail forces password change.
Google forced me, but
Well,
yeah. So maybe there's a setting.
I bet.
Right. Yeah.
Bank doesn't
Go
force
ahead.
it.
What about using the computer or site-generated passwords as an option rather than creating one on your own?
Yeah.
You don't know what it is.
Exactly. No, that's
Knows what it is.
the password that you don't know is the best password.
Is bad password?
Is a good password.
The reason I've always used a book is because I didn't want to trust the computer that someone wouldn't hack into my password protection. So I've always kept them in a separate book.
That's fine. That's fine. If you turn on two-factor, if you turn on the second factor, that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, I get it. I mean, sometimes the act of using the password manager is difficult, right? So if you are okay with your book, if you keep your book with you, or not make millions of copies of them, then that's good. Was there a question? Yeah.
We might cover this in another slide, but is it okay to have your computer then save the passwords? Okay, good.
To it, well, I'll cover that. Yeah.
So a password that's auto-generated by a website, what happens if I then go to my tablet or a mobile device? Does that password carry over, or is that specific to the device? And then I just think I may be just causing myself more headaches.
Right. So you have to know. So that this goes back to the password manager, managing the password manager kind of thing, right? Which I'll talk about. Like, if you're on Apple, if you're on iPhone, iPad, MacBook, then you can use the Apple Note as your password manager, a rudimentary password manager. Write it down, and then you can lock it. When you lock it, it only unlocks with your fingerprint or your face.
Like on the Notes app?
Nose app.
That?
Yes. You can do that right now. Yeah, you type something and you long press it, and then it brings up this menu that you can lock it. So once locked, then your grandkids probably, well, they may figure out how to unlock it, but that's a different story, right? So like, right? Yep. So you should use your phone's default password manager. So right now, Android and iOS both have a default password manager. In the latest iPhone, there's a new passwords app. You can find it. If you use your phone, now, so that comes with the question of, I'm only locking, if you use your iPhone and a PC, then they're disjoint. If you use an iPhone and a Mac, then they talk to each other, right? If you're completely in an Apple ecosystem or Google ecosystem, right? So like you always use Android, Google Chrome, then you're good on that. So that is an issue. So you have to be aware if you use an iPhone and a PC, then maybe write it down, or maybe write it down on Note. Then you just, when you're on your PC, refer to the Note app on your phone.
Is that iPhone passwords app, does that work on older iPhones, or does it only work on the newest? Do you know?
It's on the newest iOS, so
Okay.
it should work on older phone, but not. I mean, I don't know what like.
It depends on the operating system of the phone.
Right. It comes with iOS 18. Right. It's yeah. So that's my recommendation for passwords. Okay, and this is a great thing. If you see passkey, turn it on. So right now, both Apple and Google and Microsoft, they all support passkey. Passkey is the new standard that does not require password anymore. So when you see passkey, turn it on.
But you have to be able to set up, I mean, I own passkeys, but I've not been able to set them up, which means I need to come.
Exactly. I'm giving the clinic business, right? So it's important, right? So this is where we want every website to go to. Now, there's a transition in a couple years, hopefully. Every website, every system goes to passkeys, then we no longer need passwords. So what this is, it's supposed to be a built-in two-factor locking. It relies on your phone's biometric and maybe another passcode. So it's always the two things. Right now, they rely on your password and then your phone. So anyway, so turn this on. This is good. And if any one of you want to know more, I can come back later time and talk about this more. But for now, that's all. All right, so that's all for the password management, right? As a summary, turn on two-factor authentication. That's better than anything else. So if you only do one thing, turn on two-factor authentication. Now, most of you are very good on not reusing, but then after not reusing, you may want to allow for the computer to generate a password for you. Now, that's good. However, that comes back into, well, so how do I record it when they're at the right time, right? So that requires you to understand if you use a password manager, like I use LastPass, I use another application called Bitwarden. LastPass is good. Now, if you heard about LastPass got hacked, that's okay. I mean, again, security has a spectrum. None of us are 100% secure. If you want to go to 100% secure, you have to go to the cave, right? Unfortunately. So we are choosing how secure we want it to be while we can still live our lives, right? I'm in the industry. I don't want to, like, I still want to live my life. I don't want to, because I have friends who will cover themselves when they type their password, like literally with they drape. Yeah. because of worry about cameras around, right? Anyway, you don't, I mean, I want people to be reasonably secure while you can actually live your life, okay? And enjoy the sunny day like today, okay? All right, so that's passwords. Any questions? Okay, so number two is, the second thing I want to talk about is about phishing. So this is a hard topic to talk about because it's so vast. So I will just pick a few things to talk about. And if you have questions, then we can get into discussion. Rule number one on avoiding being phished is don't click on random links. Now, this is easily said than done. So hard to do. But be aware. Be aware. Links come from anything, email, text, and QR code. I received these. So most of these are real. You will get this. Your payment to Amazon was unsuccessful, and it will say fix it now. Now this will get you in trouble if you click that. I don't know what this got me to because I didn't click that, but just slow down. So like the key is anytime you receive an email, a text message saying something is wrong, and click here, just slow down and just like, okay, maybe if it's Amazon, what I would do is I'll go to my Amazon through my phone, right? If there's some trouble, I should see it from my Amazon app, right? So just think, same thing if somebody call you and say, hey, I'm your bank, your payment is wrong, and I need to verify your information, you should hang up nicely, right? So you should say, hey, thank you, I will call you back, right? So like then call the bank back. That's what you should do too. It's also cybersecurity. Same thing online. If you receive an email and text and say, like, today you probably will not be receiving text about you win some prizes. That's gone. That everybody's very aware of that. But these types of things happen, like because we buy things from Amazon and then you worry about the gift that you just bought will not show up, so you will click on it. This is also someone from my company got it. It's like your mail quota is full, so this is how you fix it. It's they always try to create urgency for you to act. So just slow down, just be aware. This one, what is it? Can you please check the status? Yeah, so this is to trick you to click on the attachment, right? So this is received by one of my staff. This person doesn't, right? So they were like, okay, well, this sounds okay to click on this. So if you're not careful, you will click on this and then you get in trouble. So it's hard, but just be aware, just think, go slowly. You rather like, I once sent a YouTube link to my mom and she wouldn't watch it. She was like, you told me to never click on any links. So I said, okay, great. Yeah, I did my job. So you rather that. And I like, that's awesome. I rather you don't see the video I sent you for a few days than get in trouble, right? QR codes are links, right? So right now you see QR codes everywhere. Just be aware, again, it's hard to, like, you can't tell. A human being cannot tell where this goes to. Now this is good, by the way, but this goes to my bio. But so where do you see QR codes right now? Anybody?
Everywhere. In the stores?
In the stores, right? So like we have in restaurants, you scan to get to order, right? So those are probably okay. If you sit in a restaurant, the McDonald's, there's QR codes now, I think maybe. In the store, sometimes they have you go onto their website maybe, right? But just don't randomly scan QR code. I mean, I was like, my recommendation will be, again, slow down. So the recommendation on phishing is trying to slow down. Like, if something is needed, they will get to you. Don't randomly scan QR codes. Okay. All right. Rule number 2: if you read scam report, don't laugh at people, because you get hacked too. I get hacked. So now, this probably doesn't mean anything, but the fact is, I get hacked on 3 of my domain name with just one click. So what this is I get hacked into doing things that I'm telling you never to do. I receive a notification from one of the artists that I follow for a long time, and her art is usually very, very expensive, like in the thousands. And then I received this note that says, "Hey, it's a like limited time. If you act now, it'll be discounted." So I click on it. I trust this artist. I know her, and I know her art, and it's completely her art. So these things are very targeted. They know you. They understand what you like. So I click on it, and within, like, when I realized, it's about 5 minutes later, all these was transferred to someone else. So just be aware. And I've been talking about this over and over again, that just slow down. Yeah, when you think something is coming from your children or your grandchildren, slow down. If it's a link, just slow down. Just call them back, right? If you receive a message from your bank, call the bank. Trying to use a second channel. It's very similar to password. The reason why second factor authentication is important is because that creates another channel. So one channel comes in, you use another channel to go back to them. And same thing in phishing. If Amazon really want to get to you, you should be able to go to Amazon and find that. If your bank want to get to you, if IRS wants to get to you, right, you should be able to call them, right? So nicely say, "Hey, I understand I owe some tax, and I'm going to call IRS," right? So, like, yeah. So these type of things happens all the time. So slow down. All right. Yeah, today I receive probably 2 to 3 of these a day. Random text message. So just get rid of them. I don't know if you receive them too, but they're getting more and more sophisticated. In the past, they just say something like this: "Excuse me, I found your number." Today, they will know you're traveling. They know your name. They know, like, it would happen that I just left, right? I just come back from a long Asian trip, and the text message would say something like, did you forget something in an airport? That I just left, right? So, like, it's very contextual. So because these things are now created by AI, they have so much more time, so much more intelligence. So again, just slow down. Text message, if they're not from a number that you know of, then just ignore them. Important people will have a way to get to you. Trust me. Yeah.
I use that when the text message comes up, delete and report chunk. Where do I report? Where does it go? I mean, does it get reported to somewhere?
So the telecom company keeps tab of it. That's how sometimes now you will say spam likely is what people report them.
Okay.
So always report them. Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
If you were to open a text link that you received from your phone, how were they able to hack your phone from that standpoint? Is that a way of gaining entry into your phone?
Well, don't underestimate the sophistication of hackers. So now, theoretically, we trust Apple and Google to do the best job of not allowing people to hack us through this channel. But hackers are, like, very clever. So so in short, yes. So just slow down, right? If IRS texts you, just text IRS back. Was there a question over here? Yeah.
I had something happen about a month ago that I've never fully understood. It has to do with computer fraud. I got an email from a journalist that I've been following, does very good work. I clicked it, went on to read what he had written for the day, and he has a donor page. And he said, anyone that would donate to help support his work. I went into the donor page, and I was thinking about making a donation, but I hadn't made it one yet. But lo and behold, I looked, and there was my last 4 digits of my credit card and my name, and I was set up as an annual donor. About a minute later, my phone rang, and it was my MasterCard company. They had called, it was fraud alert, and they asked me, did I make that donation? And I said, no, and they closed my account. But I had wondered, was the problem the journalist that somebody sabotaged his website, or is somebody tracking me?
So I don't know the detail, but there are a few possibilities. One is that whole thing was fake. Some system knew you following someone, so target you. Right? So that is really hard to avoid. There could also be that like the form was pre-filled, like your system want to pre-fill your address, your name for you. So it could be that, and maybe yeah. So those are the two possibility. I wouldn't think the journalist that you're following got hacked. Maybe but without knowing precisely, then that's also great that you have your credit card helping you out, right? So and also like this is a side thing, right? Try to use credit card in precise manner. So like you could have some card that you only use for traveling, some card that you use for, so create a pattern that you will use a card for. So when it's out of, like, you don't buy shoes normally, but you all of a sudden buying shoes, then your credit card company will alert you. Try to make it easy. Yeah.
Is it better now, so many of the credit card equipment says to tap it? Is that much safer than putting it into, because mine was hacked, I believe, at a gas station.
Yeah. The swipe is the easiest to hack. The swipe is the three methods now, right? So you could swipe, you can insert, and you can tap. Tap is better than insert, which is better than swipe. Tap is the best.
How about Apple Pay?
Apple Pay is tap. So Apple Pay actually takes the tap one step. Well, actually, it's the same thing. Every time you tap, the credit card number that the credit card company receives is different. So they don't even know who it is. It would generate a new number at the time that you tap. So yeah.
What about things like LifeLock and VPNs?
Question that you use VPN? Should you use LifeLock? I have no idea about LifeLock. I don't follow them. Okay. VPN, you could use them. I don't use them much. I use them when I travel, but at home I don't. If you need to use them, then it's good. But I would not recommend. Like I would not say try to use them more. Right? Yeah.
What about clicking on the unsubscribed at the bottom of all of the junk mail?
That's tricky because that could tell them you are real. So a lot of hacking, just like this text, is trying to get you to even tell them to get you off the list. You have just told them you exist. So I don't ever click on. It's my practice. Okay, I don't click on unsubscribe. I just don't read emails.
New trend.
Right. So, I mean, I wouldn't say don't ever click on unsubscribe, but be aware sometimes if it's so So the correct practice, right? So the legal practice is that every mass email must include an unsubscribe link. My company has that, right? When we send out mass email to our customers, we have an unsubscribe link. And when they click on the unsubscribe link, we have to take them off the list. That's legal, right? But hackers don't follow the rule. If they do, they wouldn't be hackers. Yeah. So the danger is that they are trying to see if there's someone behind this email address, and you just prove to them that you exist. Yeah.
So I use unsubscribe if it's something I know I've subscribed to and I want to be removed. But I've started using block sender instead, which on my, I don't see it on my laptop, but on my phone, it's, if I scroll down under reply, it's the very last option. And I just figured that doesn't notify them that I'm real. It just prevents me from receiving any more emails.
Right. That's like what I do. I just block them from my face. And more, Google does that automatically. Google tries to guess, like Gmail, if you use Gmail, the Gmail, like Google Gmail, if you go onto the Gmail interface, they try to guess which one is important to you and will only give you the important ones first, right? And then, of course, you can get all everything else.
How about Yahoo? Does it do that?
I don't know. I use Yahoo. I don't think they do that, but they may soon. So anyway, all right. So we're about time. I've just want to go through AI a little bit. Now the AI section is more about how to use AI than how to avoid getting in trouble from AI. So it's a little bit different than the other two sections. So if you guys want, I may come back. I could come back to this. This is now my life. I now invest in AI companies. So anyway, ChatGPT, I use ChatGPT. Everyone in my company use ChatGPT to do mostly writings. So we use ChatGPT to help write articles, write emails, write ad copies. We use it to brainstorm ideas. We brainstorm company names. We brainstorm travel itineraries and where to go to lunch. My kid came into my office and like, where do we go to dinner tonight? I say, well, let's ask ChatGPT. It already know where I am at, what I like. It's quite scary. And it took us to a new pizzeria that we didn't know it's just recently opened. So it's good. And also summarizing is what ChatGPT is very good at. So it can help us summarize long articles and extract key points from contracts, reading legal contracts. I will throw like a shareholder agreement and say, well, tell me what this means in pure plain English. And it does that pretty well. So yeah. So ChatGPT there's a free tier, you can sign up now. And also the image analysis that it does very well now. So I took this picture on a plane ride home last week, and I see this circular thing, and I asked it, I took this picture from a flight. Can you tell me what those circles are? And it says it's our center pivot irrigation system, commonly used in blah 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 blah. Yeah. And then I said, can you tell me? I'm flying from Denver to Dulles. Where do you think this picture is taken? And it says, based on your flight, image is likely somewhere in the Great Plains of U.S., Eastern Colorado, Kansas, or Nebraska. And then it asked me, if you know the time of the flight, I may narrow it down. So like it's almost like a human level. That's what a human would do. Like if you ask someone where you take, well, what time is it? And so image analytics is getting very good. So people use it to count calories. You take a picture of your food and you ask how much calorie did I just eat. It does a pretty good estimation. Yeah. I also use it for picture generation, image generation. So I do this quite a bit. We create companies So it's like create a simple company called monkeywork.ai. Now, this company doesn't really exist, but it does that. Like, this takes jobs away. Used to pay people to create logos, but that's what ChatGPT can do nowadays. Now, Google has this thing called Notebook LM, which I want to show. This is quite amazing. So I throw today's, so Notebook LM is created for college students to read articles, to study. So when they have a long research article that they have to read, they can put it in a notebook, and AI can help them study. So they can create study guide, those little index card.
Flashcards?
Right, flashcards. Yes, that's so long ago to me that escaped me. And the amazing thing is, it chew up the information and create a podcast. So I put my presentation and some text that between Yizing and I, we were talking about what we should talk about in this talk. I put those notes into Notebook LM and say, just chew it up and create something. And this is what it created, a 19-minute podcast. I'm going to play something. I'm going to play it right now.
Welcome to our deep dive, really focusing in on AI and what it all means, especially for seniors. Yeah. We're talking about personalized healthcare, staying safe online, and even how AI could change the way you connect with loved ones.
Oh, it's a fascinating area, and your timing is perfect because it's evolving so rapidly.
Yeah, we're working from a recent ChatGPT conversation that covered both,
Now remember, these two people does not exist. They don't exist.
This is too much. I'm bowing
This
out.
is all generated. This is all generated based on, I put two things in it. And I am now truly using it. Like, I receive research articles that I have to read. I just throw it in and then have it generate a 10-minute podcast, and I will be listening to it on my drive. And it's very, very comfortable because it always creates two people talking back and forth. But that's the state of the, so podcast now is generated. I mean, I think it's crazy. All right, so.
Aren't you worried about the quality of what it's producing? I mean, I had Google ask me to do, I mean, my background is mathematical research, so it sent me some stuff, got it wrong. So I'm very leery about trusting them. I know they're going to get better and better, but how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know it's any good?
You don't. So right now, like I would not ask it to generate new information. So we use it to write emails, right? So what we usually do is give it note forms, right? Now it still has a lot of hallucination. That's what it's called. Like, it makes things up. It's very good at saying the wrong thing very correctly. So and it's a huge problem in the entire industry. So a lot of money is throwing in to solve that problem. So what a lot of big companies do is to say, only base your knowledge, right, Mr. AI, only base your knowledge on these articles. So that exists, that thing exists, but yeah, it's a huge problem, and everybody is aware of that. So when you go to ChatGPT and ask for anything, just be aware that it will hallucinate. Okay, so so the last thing I want to show is this. So this is a friend of mine. This is not him, and you can kind of tell this. He looks like he looks a little old, so he used his picture from a few years ago that he looks a little bit younger, and then generate this. And so today, like you you can think of from now on, this will get better and better and better. I have another friend who's teaching online, and every teaching video is AI generated. And it was based on her like she recorded one video, and then AI can now change the wording with the right mouth movement. Yeah, so she loved it because now she doesn't have to re-record. She just write up new lecture notes, like write up new lecture and put it in, and then a couple minutes later, a new lecture would be generated. Yeah, so that's AI. It's fascinating, and yeah, I am me, and you can scan this QR code if you're not worried about, or you can type. I have a Apollo Stream email, so you can email me. Make sure you donate. Think about donate to My Tech Clinic and come to My Tech Clinic. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope this is helpful.
It was fascinating and frightening.
Yeah, that's what it was meant to be.
Mostly frightening. God bless.
You know, and they don't say town names properly.
He
has a name, but he doesn't. He said, "Hey, how are you? You're looking great." Excuse me, this is Maryland News. Don't you? It's like
No, I think that's
fake.
not a device.
I'm curious.
How are you? Nice to see you. I'm glad you came.
No idea what.
I don't even know anymore. I had COVID back in February of 2020. It's friends of my daughter.
Thank you so much for sending it out.
Maybe on a website, so do you want to get it to the bank, get it to Vanguard?
He just had this to go through.
I look back on 2023 and said,
They ask for a tax.
dude, I have no one. I didn't go sailing. I didn't put my kayak over. I didn't
Go to
I read, but I'll read a book. I read
second
I've forgotten that I read. And I even keep a reading diary. Memory is something you can't realize. It's like